was Luther when Columbus came to America?
1770.
No,
It's 72, right?
1492.
1492. Sailed
He
the
was
ocean
nine.
blue.
He was
1492.
Yeah. He was 9.
It was not.
Actually, it was 8 because it was before his 9th birthday.
Why is that?
Trick question.
Trick question. When did Columbus land?
Oh, he didn't even land in America. He landed in like
Bahamas.
Where did Columbus actually land?
Bahamas.
In the Bahamas.
Yeah.
On October 12,
Day.
1492. So October is before November most years. So Luther had not yet had his 9th birthday.
Wow.
All right.
Smile.
Aww. All
What is
right. This summer I was in Germany, and I got a bunch of pictures of places where Luther was. Really was. This is the church in Eisleben where he preached his last sermon in February of 1546, just about a week before he died. Right there in the very church arcade. And there's a statue of Martin Luther in the church. And right across the road, this is the house where he died. This is my aunt. That's my cousin's wife.
But pretty seriously.
Okay. There's my cousin and his wife. This
Say
is
it, I
Luther, Katie Bora.
Yeah.
This is the town square in Eisleben, in the statue of Luther, and that's the church behind there that we were just looking in. Oh, this is something they have in Germany. This has nothing to do with Luther, but something they have done in the last 20 years. These little squares they have in the sidewalk in front of houses where Jewish people lived before, and they were taken away in the Holocaust. Okay, by the Nazis. So every time, 3 Jewish people lived in this house, and the writing will say what happened to them, where they
That's kind of creepy.
You know what we're talking about here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What month did you go to Germany? Most people.
Hmm?
What month did you go?
July.
7-10-15.
July what?
All right. And this is Geburtshaus Martin Luther, Luther's birthplace. Statue again. And there, you guys can all read German, right?
Yeah.
Sure. What does it say? Actually, it says in the chapel of this church, Dr. Martin Luther was baptized on St. Martin's Day, 1483. So this is where he was baptized. We didn't get to go inside the church because we were too late in the day. There's my drinking German beer. Okay, here we are in Wittenberg.
Yeah.
This is the monastery where Luther was a monk. And there's the house where he lived later on. And this is the pulpit, the actual pulpit he used in the state church. It's now his house is now a museum. They have the
How high up is
actual
that?
pulpit. Well, there were steps to get into it. You know.
About like how high? Like
Nah, so high.
that'd be pretty high.
Yeah. I would totally trip.
This is what they call the community chest. This is where the people around the town, if you were needy, you could go and they would have money. People would donate money and they'd hand out the money to people who need it. There's pictures of Martin and Katie, and it says in German, "I wouldn't trade my Katie for all of France and Venice thrown in." You may have seen in the movie, this is the table where Luther used to work at. This is his actual table from 500 years ago.
Wow.
That's pretty old.
It's about the only thing that's truly original still in that house. This is the town square in Wittenberg. There's a statue of Luther here, statue of Melanchthon, his friend, and you can see there's a wedding going on. There's a bride here. In Germany, you get married in the town hall, and then you can go to the church for a blessing. But the actual weddings have to happen in the city hall. Okay, and this is the church where Luther usually preached at. This is the pulpit they have today, and it is still up above the congregation. And we went to church there. We had a German church in July.
Can you speak German?
A little bit.
I can speak French.
Famous altar piece back there. This is a better view of it. On this side is a picture of a baptism going on done by Melanchthon. This is the Last Supper, except instead of all the disciples they have substituted Luther and all his friends with Jesus. And here's the actual pastor of the church. Luther was not the pastor of this church. He was a college professor. But the actual pastor of the church, Martin Bugenhagen, is listening to somebody's confession. And this is an original copy of the Apology of the Augsburg Confession, which we'll explain later. This is the college he preached at, he taught at. There's the Castle Church, some of you saw in the movie. That now, if you look, it's all covered with scaffolding and stuff because they're rebuilding and repairing it. Because in 2 years, they're going to have the 500th anniversary of all this going on. And there is the famous door. And again, like he said in the movie, this is not the original door because there was a fire. But now they have these bronze doors with the 95 Theses carved in. And here they have a picture of Jesus on the cross, Luther on this side, and Melanchthon on the other side.
Is that how long it was?
It's a tall, big build. It's a big door.
No, wait, was that how long the 95?
Well, yeah, if you wrote it all out, yeah. It's not that long, really. It's about 3 pages in a
Maybe
book.
they had really big print.
Well, it's carved, you know. This is Luther's grave. That's his grave marker. And it's written in Latin.
Yeah.
You all speak Latin, right?
Yeah.
That's Melanchthon's
Sure.
grave.
Yeah.
This is again the town square. This is the church that he usually preached at right behind the town square.
What's that one thing?
What's that ball?
Yeah, what's
The
that
ball thing is like a, if you look inside there, it says, you know, how many days until the anniversary of the Reformation. 600 and some, it said. This is the, remember he talked about the fire where they burned all the Catholic books in the book? This tree is planted about 200 years ago at the place where that fire took place. So it's called the Luther Oak, but it's only 200 years old, not 500 years old. And that's my cousin's wife in a little park there. And remember he talked about he went to go to Worms, took a 10-day trip to get put on trial. This is in the town of Wertheim, and this plaque, this thing says, Martin Luther ate bratwurst here. Bratwurst. Ever ate bratwurst?
Yeah.
Because, you know, he, according to his diary that he was keeping, they spent a night in this town, and he ate bratwurst. He said, oh, they had really good bratwurst. And that's the place where he ate the really good bratwurst. That's the Golden Eagle.
Did you eat there?
What?
Did you eat there?
We did not eat here, no.
No bratwurst?
We had bratwurst, and then, but not at that particular time. When I was in Germany back in 1994, before most of you were born, except for Cody and Chrissy, I did go to also the Wartburg, which is the castle they hid him in. There's the castle. That's a postcard, actually. And this is the room. You saw that in the thing where he actually worked and lived in. And these are some views from up there. It's a very old castle. It was actually the plain place where the dukes lived in the 12th century, but they moved to Wittenberg by the Luther's time. Yes, Megan?
I know someone that lives in Germany. I'm related to her, but I don't know like how.
All right, I have an uncle who lives in Germany. My mother came from Germany, and my uncle, her brother, my mother's been dead, but her brother's still alive. He's 87, so we went to see him for probably the last time, and to visit my cousin who lives over here. My cousin works for Dannon Yogurt in product development. So, have you ever heard of Activia?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My cousin invented that.
Oh.
They make up new kinds of yogurt and new flavors and things. And Dan Yogurt is headquartered in Paris, but he lives in Germany, so he doesn't have to actually be in Paris. He has to go to Paris for meetings like about once a month. He has to go for a day in Paris. Yeah.
I have a friend. One of my dad's friends has been living in like England for like 4 years on a business thing. And my dad always messes with them because they're like saying, oh, we're taking a day trip to like France or Germany for us, because for them all they have to do is like go across the channel and they're in like.
Yeah, you know, Germany, you know, Europe's a lot smaller than. You know, Germany's still pretty big. Germany's about the size of Montana, but I mean, the United States is a whole lot bigger than the European countries collectively.